10 times. I'm a boy, you get anything you like. Long as you alright, then me alright. Me know you man, that's why I'm alive.
Your voice, your music.
Whether me in a skirt or jeans or short shorts, head race when me walk past. Me feel the eyes, believe the eye. Me love the light, me do it despite.
Baby, pana, it's say like you all I got you all baby, pana. Anywhere that you go, I can follow you to go, baby. New level.
You're listening to WGHC 98.3 FM.
New level, new level. New level, new level. New level, new level. I them turn to one in a rebel. Pam pam banana pam panam panam pam pam banana pam panam pam 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 banana pam panam panam pam pam banana pam panam pam.
Your voice, your music, your station. WGHC 98.3 FM.
WGHC 98.3 FM. Your voice, your music, your station. If you're enjoying the show, you can show it by donating as little as $1 a day. WGHC is a non-profit organization, and your donations are what keep us up and running. It's easy. Just visit our website at www.wghcfm.org. All donations are tax deductible. Visit our social media, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at WGHC 98.3 FM. WGHC 98.3 FM. Your voice, your music, your station. Follow us at facebook.com/WGHC 98.3 FM to watch all of our live streams. iPhone users can download our WGHC 98.3 FM app in the App Store. All other users can download the TuneIn Radio app or visit tunein.com. You can also listen by phone. Dial 1-563-999-3221. Visit our website at www.wghcfm.org.
I am Mazi KK Odeluga.
Mazi Ejikeme Obase.
Na Mazi Oke Okachuku.
This is Straight Talk Radio, the world as we see.
Coming to you from WGHC 98.3 FM. Your voice, your music, your station.
Listen to us this and every Saturday at 4 to 5 p.m. U.S. Central, and this and every Tuesday at 9 to 10 p.m. U.S. Central.
Ndewono.
Igbo kwenu, hey, Moano, hey, Sotano, hey, Pratano, hey, Kwesun, hey.
Hello, good evening, listeners. Good evening, and welcome to another edition of Straight Talk Radio. I am Mazi Ejikeme Obase. My co-hosts, Mazi KK Odeluga and Mazi Oke Okachuku, will be joining us in a little bit. As with other episodes, we try to concentrate on our Tuesdays primarily on events that happen here within the United States and talk about what affects us, those of us that live here in the United States, especially our next generation Igbo Americans and, of course, other immigrants to the Nigerian space. I mean, to the American space, I am sorry. Today, we are going to talk about a few issues. I think the first one I would like to start with is the issue of the NFL's ban, basically, on kneeling in protest. And I know that this has been something that has been waxing and waning in the political airspace. A lot of people have their opinions, both for and against what the NFL athletes are doing. Opinions vary widely. So the NFL decided that they would put an end to it, more or less, by saying there will be no more kneeling in public or, in the stadium when the national anthem is being sung. And if you don't want to stand, you can sit in the locker room and come out afterward, which to some people was a nice compromise. But I personally think that it is a great cop-out. I think we in this country have to, at some time, decide what it means to obey the Constitution. Because it seems to me that a lot of people bandy about the Constitution and their interpretation of the Constitution whenever they feel it fits their purpose. The right to free speech is very firmly enshrined in the Constitution. And over the years in this country, many people have paid a price for exercising that right. And it is sad that in the year 2007, into 2017, into 2018, that we would still have voices that would like to come and muzzle free speech in this country. Free speech is free speech regardless of who is speaking. So, people come and kneel, and all of a sudden it is felt to be disrespectful to the army or to our armed forces. And to people who make that argument, I like to ask a question. When soldiers of color fought in American wars, bled for America, and died for America in foreign soils, and come back to America and are not afforded the same right as prisoners of war from other countries, did anybody stand up and say it is disrespectful to our boys and girls in the armed forces? When acts of injustice have been carried out specifically against members of the military, of which the case, many cases abound, who has come out to defend them as our boys and girls in the army? So it seems to me, really, and I am sorry, maybe my lens is tinted, but it seems to me that what we are really saying is that speech is free in America only if you belong to a certain segment of America. Otherwise, your speech cannot be free. So Colin Kaepernick, who is the quarterback that started all of this, has basically been blacklisted. He's not going to get a job again, which also, incidentally, is a very American thing. Though we may not like to agree and accept it, but it is true. Because it is common that once you are branded one way or another, the rest of America close ranks against you and make sure that you pay the price. It has happened to athletes in this country. Maybe somebody should go and look at what happened to the athletes that raised the Black Panther salute at the Olympics. What happened to them when they came back to the United States? It is good to celebrate Jesse Owens because maybe it was showing up the Nazis. I am not sure he would be so celebrated if it was otherwise. So I think it is time to call out people who try to hide under the guise of faux patriotism, as I would call it, and try to denigrate others for exercising a fundamental American value, that of protest when you feel your rights are being stomped on. Let us remember that these athletes are not protesting for themselves, as of themselves. They are protesting injustice against a segment of society. It is no different from the move of the LGBTQ community to try to stand up for their rights. It is no different from the moves of the civil rights movement, Martin Luther King and others in his camp, to try to end injustices, the women's suffrage movement. All of these come under the same broad umbrella, people agitating for the right to be treated fairly. They have not asked for any special any special considerations, except that you treat people with the same dignity and fairness as you treat other citizens of that country. So that's something that maybe later on, when my co-hosts are here, we can go back and look at that again and see what their opinion is. And the other part I was also thinking about in the news is to do with the Memorial Day and remembering our armed forces that have paid the supreme sacrifice to keep the American democracy alive. And it seems to me that more and more the honor that is due these men and women is becoming somewhat jaded, because it is now being used as a political tool. So we bring up the army, we scream about our armed forces and everything about it, and raise the flag and clutch our hands to our heart, when we don't lift a finger to do right by them. For those of us that live in Illinois, we know about the Veterans Center where Legionnaire's disease was found, and it was basically covered up. These are people who have served and are old, unable to care for themselves. They have given service to this country, and they were owed. If anybody is owed, they were owed due care. And we put them in shoddy, third-rate buildings, and they're dying of Legionnaire's disease, which is a waterborne disease that has to do with contamination of the piping in that building. And all the politics behind doing right by them, until it blew up, the politicians knew that this was going on, who advocated for the veterans. You talk about all the scandals about the hospitals, veterans dying before they can get care. Look at the VA hospital system and everything that was wrong about it. And in trying to fix it, some people are eagerly seeking the opportunity to privatize it. And I promise you, none of these moves are for the benefit of the veterans. So the question then becomes, who is the voice of the veterans? Now, it used to be, I would think that it used to be that the military tradition in America was a strong one. So that when you had people that have served in the military and they come back and they go into politics, many times the fact that they had served their country unquestionably, and generally most of them were people of honor, they were cut some slack. No matter their political persuasion, I don't think there was ever, at least to my knowledge, any public denigration of their beliefs to the point of asking the question if they were citizens. And so more and more you have people who have never served in any branch of the military, whose children have never served in any branch of the military, who do not particularly go out of their way to honor the military, but they will very happily use the military and wrap themselves around the flag, around the military, and use it as a political tool. And so as I was looking at all the events around Memorial Day, the laying of wreaths, the tweets, the talks, the positions, I must say I felt a little bit sad, because I don't know how I would feel if I had lost a son or a daughter or a close family member in the defense of the United States of America, and then I am watching some of this charade on TV. I think I would be asking myself, was my sons or daughters or family members' sacrifice, is this what they died for? So I think even as we do all the showmanship and the politics and all the outside things that are associated with this, it is important too for us to take time to remember that Memorial Day does have a deeper meaning, and that meaning cannot be lost in all the politics of today's political atmosphere. So I'm glad Mazi Keke Odeluga has joined me. Kelende Madu Keke. Yeah, so I was talking about Memorial Day.
Yes.
And in my opinion, I feel that the true meaning of Memorial Day is being lost, and it is now an opportunity, or politicians now use it essentially as an opportunity to showboat, and that the true meaning of memorial is being lost. So I don't know how you feel about this.
Yeah, it's in a measure. I mean, like everything human, it starts on well, then over time, it starts losing its import. But I hear you, because in my mind, it is a time for sober reflection.
Yes.
For our nation to really ask the question, have we done good by the people who pay the ultimate price?
Yes.
That is one. Honor their memories, and also put our hands around the families of these young,
lost people,
young men and women, and ask the question: have we comforted them in ways, and have we lived out the values for which their children paid the ultimate price?
Yes.
And then thirdly, it should be a time for us as a nation to sit back and really realize that there is a cost
to war. Absolutely.
And take stock of the cost of war. And when we, not just in human terms, in monetary terms, not even in destruction of property, but also in the toll it takes on humanity, and actually make us to commit to pursuit of peace and less of aggression, violence, and find ways to mitigate that. I think that should be the essence of a memorial. And that, to me, is some place that we need to begin to drift to. It is good for public officials to lay wreaths in remembrance and all that, but it's not a time for us to the mark of patriotism of
Yes.
Making it look like some people love the military, some people don't love the military.
Well, that's exactly where this conversation started, because I think people have co-opted
Yes.
the military. They now have a monopoly
Yes.
on fondness for the military.
Yeah.
You know, it used to be that years back, a lot of politicians themselves or close relatives or children would serve.
Yes.
I would really like to know what percentage of the current crop of politicians have really served, and I mean served in the forces in a meaningful manner. Because I also believe that it is very easy to declare war when you have no personal stake in it. If the results can come back to you in a very meaningful manner, then maybe you'll be a little bit more hesitant in throwing young people in putting young people in harm's way. Yes.
You know, I mean, that is so true. And again, it is up to our citizenry to really begin to recalibrate that and own decisions that are made by public officials.
Yes.
And make sure that our voices are heard and that we understand the issues and that we are not sitting back thinking that they know what they are doing. No. Sometimes the led are actually more are wiser and have a clearer vision of issues, unlike sometimes the myopic view that public officials can be looking through. And we've seen that. We've seen the impact of that. We cannot justify. Sometimes it's difficult for us to justify some of the conflicts that we become part of.
Yes.
But at least I give this to our nation, that at least that we do remember.
Yes.
Because families have also taken this opportunity to remember their loved ones.
Yes.
So I know it's a common practice for families to go put flowers on the graves of their ancestors that have long gone, as a way to reconnect with their history and their journey on earth, not necessarily ancestral worship, but to go and lay flowers on those, and that's
and
the
remember
way
them.
That remember
And
their
remember
lives
them.
and reflect
yes,
on their legacy, and then
to me, that is also how traditions are made.
Yes.
Because when a child is taken to a cemetery,
Yes.
and you say this is your dad or this is your uncle or this is what he did, this is where he fought, this
Yes.
is for America.
Yes.
It also helps inculcate that a stronger sense of patriotism.
Yes.
That yes, we live and die for our country.
Not only those who fought in the war, but just generally.
Yes.
Because I think that's the way the family legacies are built and the stories are told.
Yes.
You know, that going through cemeteries, you know, in our culture, going through the grave of cemeteries, everybody's like, oh,
scared,
ghost.
Yes.
But really, it's a historical place. Because once you walk into any, especially with the tombstones, you will see so and so born, died, son of so and so. And you have family graves or family burial places, all contingent to each other. That could actually tell you the story of a family when they first arrived the U.S., who died before who, and who begat who.
Yes.
And that's life. But it's important that we remember. And I think that's what is the key. And like I said in a former program, that what is beautiful about our remembrance celebration is that we don't distinguish or try to discriminate. Oh, these are the good veterans and these are not the
well,
these are the
there
bad
you
veterans.
go. Because
so those who fought on the side of the Confederates are not discriminated against from those who fought on the Union side.
Because they fought for what they believed in. And you are honoring It is
their service.
Their service is really what you're honoring. Service to country.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if they were on the Confederacy or the Union side.
Yes.
They fought for what they believed in.
Yes.
So which segues right back to where I started, because I am very miffed at this issue of the NFL.
Yes.
You know, and their decision that the football athletes can no longer kneel. So if you don't want to stand for the national anthem, you go and sit in the locker room till after the anthem is played. And all the brouhaha around it, unfortunately, was couched as disrespecting the military and the flag. So I ask the question, do people of color who have served in America's army, are they not worth honoring?
No. You see, if I could reframe your question.
Okay.
Is America honoring the service that the Africans and the people of color gave to this nation?
That's the question.
In her fields, in her frontiers, in her military, in civil service, at home, abroad. I mean, look at the whole of the America. You cannot look beyond. There's no story of in the American formation that you do not see people of color.
Yeah.
If not for the Indian that accommodated some of the early pilgrims that arrived from Europe, they would not have survived. This is not rocket science. We need to acknowledge all of those traditions and people. Some of the people we ended up exterminating or destroying were useful.
Yes.
When the people they met them in good faith,
yes,
cut covenants, did work, showed them how to till the land, and then look at the Africans that came and were able to make this enterprise a viable and a sustainable economic enterprise.
Yes.
Imagine if not for the labor of the Africans. And they didn't come to America
voluntarily. So let's start there. Okay.
Then secondly, they didn't come so that America would teach them what to do. They came and they walked out of the boat straight to work because they had the skills needed to do what they were asked to do. And they did it faithfully without all under great duress and torture.
Well, so
yet, and that was the reason why that flag could be defended.
Yes.
Because the people who are shooting the bullet,
that shredded the Star-Spangled Banner.
That's right. As they were shredding it, there were people who built the fort. Who built that fort?
Yes.
That was being shelled.
Yes.
That protected the people.
Yes.
And for all you know, there may have been some black people that held up that flag.
Well,
if you really go to the story.
But that's really my point, because at every point, every bit of history of this country, America, from the War of Independence all through to what's our most recent, we're in Syria, yes. I suppose, people of color have served.
And died in the battlefield.
We forget that up until maybe the 60s, people of color who shed their blood for America in foreign soil came back to a country that still felt they were second-class citizens.
No, that rejected them.
Okay. So all this brouhaha about patriotism, the flag, and the military, where were these voices when this blatant discrimination was being meted out to people who gave their lives for the same country we're talking about?
So think about it. The woman that took Thomas Jefferson's children or Washington's children and gave them a bath and fed them and clothed them and ironed their clothes before he left.
Yes.
The master left.
Yes.
They were serving the country.
They were serving the country.
Those children survived. Nobody cared for the woman that was caring for the child.
Yes.
And those children survived. Those men came of age. And yet, you question the patriotism of those people who faithfully served a nation that had great disregard for them.
Well,
so you're talking about maybe the veterans that came back from World War II.
Even the Korean War.
No, you see, again, that was all part of the effort, the entire strategy of the post-Reconstruction rise of this ultra-nationalism that gave rise to the KKK was to hinder and remove every possible gain that the African may have gained through his service in the Union Army.
Yes.
To help bring America together.
Yeah.
Keep America together.
Yeah.
And also through the proclamation that was made. So the fact that Africans were armed to fight became a threat to Southern veterans that returned.
Yeah.
And some of them went into organized the KKK as a new insurgency to terrorize the Africans. Now, you come down to our present day. The issue between the black community, the communities of color, and the police is clear. The recent incident in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, shows us that we have a big issue.
Well, everybody knows we have a big issue.
Now,
except what you're supposed to know and say nothing.
No, so for the African, kneeling is actually more respectful than standing, because it is on our knees that we yield our effort and power and will to the supreme God.
Yes.
And that's what that kneeling means. Kneeling is actually bowing.
Acquiescence.
That's right. We are bowing and submitting ourselves to the God that delivered us from the hands of those that seek to destroy us. So if they understood kneeling from the eyes of the Africans, when you saw the civil rights movement, kneeling was their biggest position, their best position to take the brutality of the police and not only the water guns and the dogs.
Yes. Well, but you see, that's really okay. I'm looking at it in the sense that it is very sad, because I know that, at least I would like to believe that the overwhelming majority of Americans, regardless of color, race, sex, whatever, are decent people. What is it about this that it's like raising a red flag to a bull?
No.
You know, everybody gets so worked up that even the NFL has to go and make this draconian. You know, it's almost like I would like to see the whole players stay in the locker room and play play the anthem.
Yes.
And then we come out and play.
Yeah. So you see, again, we box ourselves into a corner, realizing that we have values that have guided us throughout our republic.
Okay.
The right, the freedom of the First Amendment, the Bill of Rights, speech, free speech.
Free speech.
Freedom to assemble.
Yes.
The creed that guides our independence from Britain. All men are created equal.
Yeah.
And they have a right given to them by their creator. Those inalienable rights are to life, liberty, and what?
Pursuit of freedom.
So if the African does not feel safe in his community because of the police,
because of the instruments of state,
which the police
Yes,
represents.
of course.
So if that has always been used as a controlling force,
Yes.
not a force that comes to serve. I mean, watching what happened in Milwaukee was so sad. Because here was a young man who made
tell people, because not
Yes.
everybody knows what happened in Milwaukee.
So this is a young basketball player, one of the athletes, stars of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yes.
He parked his car wrongly and went into a Walgreens.
Yes.
Then came out. The police stopped him and said, "Okay, why did you do that?" He said, "Okay, I'm sorry. Can I go?" The guy said, "No." So he provoked some action.
Yeah.
Then before you knew it, he called for help, backup. The backup, because of the way it was called, sent about 5 or 6 squad cars into the arena. Then when they came, the guy was quiet, cooperating, talking to everybody, but was trying to challenge the police, trying to be so mean to him and not really being understanding.
Yes.
This would have been something that the police officer would have said, "Sir, is this your car? Get into your car.
I'm writing you a ticket."
And write you a ticket and say, "Can I see your license?" Boom, boom, boom. Then goes back, writes a ticket, gives it to the guy, and out he goes. But no, he called in these friends, and the moment all of them arrived of a sudden stripe, of course he was the only black in the crowd. What happens next? He gets taken down without him resisting and tased, and all on video. And then the guy is lying about why he made the stop. And then everybody is seeing that in jail. So it is this idea that the black male poses a threat to a white male. It's really what America has to address.
Yes.
This whole notion that a black man, like I tell my story, a black man in a black car parked in front of a bank
must be a terrorist.
Must be a robber that needs to be called. The police has to be called out to question why I was sitting on a parking lot in my black car as a black man. So that is the thing America needs to walk away from. And how do we walk away from it? It is not trying to paint the African as unpatriotic, as not respecting the military. No, the military fights in defense of our values.
Everybody,
all of us.
That's the point. You cannot break it down. The military defends America.
Yes.
Every American.
Yes.
And if you in terms of percentage of population that end up in the military, I am sure if you look at it, probably African Americans make up a greater percentage of the military than any other ethnic group in America. So how do you then make the argument that African Americans do not support their own children?
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing about it is and that's why I think one should not let it go. Because what that narrative is really saying to you, you can bleed for America, you can die for America, you can slave for America, but how dare you want to come and enjoy the fruits of America?
Yes. Or ever question. No, or ever question or try to help her perfect the union. Because you see, think about it. If Africans did not continue to persist to provoke questions, America will not have moved an inch to a place where they will live true to that creed that all men are created equal.
Absolutely.
So Martin Luther King was a disruptor. He was a nuisance, a rebel that needs to be contained.
Yes.
Yet today, he's one of the most celebrated men in America years after, for what he kneeled for.
Yes, for what he knelt for, exactly.
For what he knelt for, not for what he stood for. What he knelt down for.
Well,
because he was beaten down, but he stood tall in his generation to call America back to her values. And I think the young man, Colin, that began this movement.
Yes, Colin Kaepernick. Yes.
Will one day
be recognized
as a man who stood bravely to depict what that anthem finally says in his last stanza, the land of the free and the home of the brave. He's a brave man.
Yes. You're listening to WGHC 98.3 FM, your voice, your music, your station. For those of you who may be listening for the first time, you can follow us at facebook.com, WGHC 98.3 FM. You can also download the WGHC app, either from the App Store or in TuneIn.
Yes.
Yes. And then you can listen to us live wherever you have an internet connection. You can call, if you want to connect with us, you can call the studio directly at 773-942-7167. And we are always happy to interact with you any which way. Yes. So, Mazio Deluga, which brings us back to something else in the news that I think we need to talk about.
Yes.
So I need you to tell me, what is with Roseanne Barr?
Roseanne. Okay. Imana, it was now go for non-jaklikeji ekwezioku.
Yeah.
You see, or when people speak, out of the abundance
of the heart,
the mouth speaks.
Absolutely.
Now, so the issue with Roseanne Barr is that she's a comedian.
Yes.
We give it to her.
Yes.
But also she has reason to become a national icon. In the sense that she has following as an actress and one who has been successful in the entertainment industry.
Okay.
And so she had a program many of us watched and followed in the 70s and 80s.
Okay.
So recently, that program was repackaged and so-called and rebooted in the Trump era to depict a household and a few of the other actors and actresses, with Roseanne Barr being known as a supporter of Trump.
Yes.
And of course, that was a big thing for ABC and those who were trying to promote that show.
The alternate view, yes.
And that reboot was so successful in its first outing, and it made everybody who was part of it real happy. Okay. Now, you had Wanda Sykes in it and a few other actresses. Wanda Sykes is black. Okay. So, but the issue that I really asked, the question I asked myself, why would a television station in this very toxic era want to dramatize and depict on live on television a reality that many of us are living as a nightmare?
Okay.
That means in a culture that is racially charged and very toxic and divisive, then you try to depict, instead of going counterculture, you're trying to flow with the culture.
I think that was as a response to. I think that was as a response to the charge made by Trump supporters.
Yes.
That the mainstream media no longer has a voice for them.
Okay.
And so this is ABC's way, in quotation marks, of trying to bring in this audience. So it was a very cynical move, because I quite agree with you that everybody in America has an obligation to help perfect the union.
Yes.
Everybody in America has an obligation to do their little bit to make this country a place we can all be proud of.
Yes.
Many people are doing it in their own little ways. We have laws in this country so that if you break into another man's house, which is something that is destructive to the peaceful coexistence, somebody can put you away in prison.
Yes.
If you kill somebody, somebody can put you away in prison. Hate speech may be protected under the Second Amendment,
Yes.
but it does not protect in any way or shield the speaker of that speech from being exposed as sowing seeds of malice in the society.
Yeah. And two, she doesn't have the right to use the megaphone of ABC to propagate her rage.
Well, so that is on ABC.
At ABC or
That is
any
on
media,
ABC.
on any media.
Okay.
Because we have laws and we have people of conscience.
Well.
And I think ABC did the right thing by taking her down, and also I think Fox News also.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody. But the point is this:
She should not have had it in the first place.
it was a time bomb that was going to explode at any time because she's used to. Now, the other thing that is coming up on that is, what is the fixation of Trump administration and his supporters on Obama? There seems to be this venom that Obama has to go down so that we can come up.
Yes.
What they needed to do is, you say you got a good plan for America, and
Yes.
the people elected you because of your plan. Please go ahead, implement your plan. At the end, like ndị Igbo na-asị na ogoni no adị na-abọ.
Amara nke ka-
When a
Yes.
woman marries two husbands, then she will now compare who is a better husband. You don't say who. You see, the second husband cannot continue to take down the first husband and keep talking about, oh, I'm the best husband. No, you don't talk yourself up. You do what you're supposed to do. Then let the woman make the choice.
Yes.
Let the Americans, all of us, we will all come together and say,
Well,
this was how this person performed. This is how this person performed. Some at the moment, some with hindsight, some in the future. We can say, hey, by the way, Trump was one of the best presidents of the United States. In fact, we might take down the whole Mount Rushmore to just have one big giant Trump imagery all across the whole nation.
As a matter of fact, if you want examples of that, I will tell you. I remember the left, okay, the political left, and people who have leftward inclination. There was a lot of venom directed against George Bush.
Yes. Herbert Walker Bush.
Yes, Dubia.
W.
Dubia, yeah. Not, of course, to this degree of trying to use instruments of state to destroy a former president and all his. But there was while George Bush was president, a lot of his good works were not made manifest until he left office.
Yes.
And gradually, as the heat fades, it has allowed people who wish to be fair to take a second look at his presidency and say, you know what? Over time, I think we will come to recognize that George Bush was a good man.
Yes.
And regardless of how you see him as an individual, he did try for America.
Yeah.
Yeah? Uh-huh.
He got some bad advice.
Well,
but brother was a good man to the core.
He was
a decent man.
That's a decent man.
Yes.
So the point there is, today, there is all this heat about Obama. Obama's legacy will be told years after,
Yes.
not now.
Yeah.
And so also will Donald Trump.
Yes.
And it will be a shame if Donald Trump's legacy will be that he was a witch hunter. He was Edgar Hoover II.
That's right. But you see, the interesting thing why I brought that up is the way Roseanne talked about Valerie Jarrett.
Yes, Valerie Jarrett, yes.
Shows that there's a deep-seated hatred
Yes.
for her.
Yes.
And really, if you ask many Americans, what did Jarrett do? They can't really tell
Most
you.
people don't even know her.
Most people don't know her.
That's the point.
just like there are so many people in Trump's administration who are quietly serving as public servants, who you will not really know what they've done and how they work.
Yes.
They're not the face of the administration. They're not the people who go around, but they're quietly doing the work of moving this country forward. And so, but she picked on him, on her. Then she picked on George Soros, whose history is well known. Holocaust survivor.
Yes.
In Hungary, his entire family managed to survive through just God's grace.
Yes.
And his father helped many Jews escape the Nazi concentration camps.
Yes.
And the man moved to America, has done well.
Yes.
In all his life, both his family legacy, you don't see anything that depicts a family that is trying to destroy the state or whatever organization or ecosystem where they find themselves.
Yeah.
These are people who've been generous with their money, generous with their time, and their knowledge and wisdom, and have helped. Now, you may disagree with his positions on things,
Yes.
but to say that he's in cahoots with Chelsea to destroy America is taking it too far. I mean, she has apologized and said it was a joke. Yeah. But thank you. We really need people. America needs people now who can speak to us with some level of dignity and respect, and recognizing what we're dealing with, that we are in an era where we must come together, heal, and have open discussions, like what we're talking about here. Nobody, and that is some of the other thing, if we really want to go into the whole entertainment industry.
Yes.
I hear this, if you turn to any of the major news channels and you see the punditry and the panels, you don't see America reflected, so you have a certain perspective.
Yeah.
Do you understand? You don't see people of color on many of the roundtables, meet this press, talk this, state of that, all throughout the media. No, because you have a few voices talking about all they know. But that has to change, because one of the things that are really concerning me is, as a nation, we show so much love for people outside of America. You will see our country, our people go to Africa. As a country, we are giving money, we are supporting this, we are supporting that, we are caring for this. You love the Africans in Africa. But what about the Africans? Once they come into become your neighbor, then they become a problem.
Yeah.
So don't go to Africa if you don't like them.
That is this
at home.
So that. Shall we say we are a schizophrenic society? We have mixed personalities, split personalities.
Yeah,
because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But
so hopefully we'll get over Roseanne.
Yes.
And then hopefully the media, the people who run our media houses will take a lesson from that.
Yes.
It's either you go for rating and we all die, or you do what the media is supposed to do, to inform, to educate, and then entertain reasonably.
To tell you the truth, I think this is part of why mainstream media has dropped. We have pandered so much that you have driven people to the fringes. I do not necessarily want a news station that is left-leaning or right-leaning give me news.
That's right.
Give me an analysis that shows me that somebody has thought about things and presented it in a fair manner. Let me draw my conclusions.
Yes.
Don't tell me what to think, how to think. Because this is a big part of, especially the younger children, they see through this smoke screen.
Yes.
And realize very quickly that, everybody is trying to channel me in one direction or the other. So they might as well as go to where they like and be with people they like. And
Yeah.
so blogs and chat groups suddenly explode.
And those two have become an issue because now some of the blogs and chat rooms are so focused on certain
Well,
interests that it becomes almost a cultic following.
but that is exactly what has happened
Yeah.
when people have lost faith
Yes.
in the objectivity
Yes.
of mainstream media.
And that's one of what we do at Straight Talk. Try to educate,
Yes.
inform from our perspective
Absolutely.
issues that concern us as a people. Now, because somebody will ask, what audacity do you have to be able to be making all this commentary on America? And, who are you? Who is your father? And that is what is beautiful about America. Because it's an idea that anybody who imbibes that idea and commits and swears to live by those ideals is accepted as a bona fide member of this great nation.
Yes.
So as a citizen, you have rights. It doesn't matter when you came. It doesn't matter how you came. It doesn't matter what are the circumstances around you. But you have the liberty and the freedom and the protection of the Constitution of America to continue to advance this whole union to perfection, because the core of it is that we must live by a creed, a shared creed, that all men are created equal. Anything short of that standard, it's not America of our father's dreams.
And I'm wondering if people realize that it is that idea, that almost utopia, that this is a land where you can come and belong.
Yes.
America says, come in, work hard, live by our standard, and you achieve anything you want to achieve in life.
Yes.
And I will want to point out to say, in great part, it is true.
Yes.
A lot of people who otherwise would not have had opportunities where they started
Yes.
have come to America and benefited greatly
Yes.
from the system that was set up.
Yes.
And the point is that it behooves every single one of us that have pledged to be citizens of this country to do the uttermost to continue to have it grow, both in terms of economy and physical growth, but also in its path to that idealistic goal to which we all aspire.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, just as you're talking, it's clear to me that America will not have problem with the Igbo mind.
No, because
Because
yes,
we believe.
absolutely.
Obialbonye.
Abiabuleya.
Abiabunia. You see, the Igbo said, if you come to a person's place, you don't have to destroy his abode. Because ndu mmiri, ndu azu.
Yes.
You see, the health of the water also guarantees the health of the fish.
Yes. Well, that,
So you cannot destroy, like people will say, na mmadụ ama mgbu onye ọ ga-akwa.
yes.
I'm not going to destroy my abode. I'm not going to kill somebody that I'm responsible for burying.
Yeah.
So there's a self-preserving
Yes.
idea,
fulfillment
in
America.
sustaining the nation, the
Yes.
country, the ideas. So because it's beneficial to not only you but the generations to come, including your children.
Yes.
Makanam, is that idea that Obiabunya will make the Igbo give their best, and that's what you see. And I can say that because Straight Talk is the world as we see.
See it. Yes.
Not to say take away from anyone. The Africans that came here have not sought to destroy this land.
No.
So this myth of these people are not patriotic.
Yeah. Well.
Think about it.
Well.
They started. You didn't teach them the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes.
but they were practicing the pledge. Because in the South, the African was not taught the civics or the history.
Well, was not even allowed to read and write.
It was a crime. So yet, they imbibed those values.
The spirit of
because that was how their worldview allowed them to function. And that's how they survived. They survived that they believed that this union could be perfected.
Yes.
They survived with that hope. And so if generations after, there are still people who are questioning the patriotism and whether the place of the African in America, that person ought to find their heritage where they came from and go back to there, because they don't belong. They don't belong. That's the point. You see, anybody who feels that the Africans one day will get up and leave America better begin to find a way to get back to where he believes he came from. Maybe he will not find a black man there.
Well, and it's not just Africans, it's also Asians, Hispanics.
That's right. We've all come to stay.
This table is big enough for all of us.
There
you go. Because at the end of the day, if you look at the history of this country, every single race has contributed.
Yes. Immensely.
So nobody holds a patent on their contributions to America.
If I can indulge you to just deviate a little bit, we'll go to France.
Okay.
There's a new Spider-Man.
Yes.
In life, not Hollywood made.
Yes.
Now,
I saw that.
Now, think about that. That if you go to France, there's a movement, there are people, ultra-nationalists in France, who feel that French belongs to the French. French.
Yes, to the white French.
Mm-hmm. Forgetting that what you see in France and Paris today were created by wealth that were taken out of Francophone countries in Africa.
Oh, and Haiti.
And Haiti.
Begin with Haiti.
Haiti, from all the West African coast, Ivory Coast, Cameroon,
Côte d'Ivoire, Cameroon, Senegal,
Mali, Botswana, Burkina Faso, all the
North Africa, Algeria, Morocco.
Oh, yes. That's right. So you have these French incursions into all those areas.
Yep.
Now, you think those people will not follow you home after you've come and did your thing in their country? But anyway, this young man, having walked through, survived, a survivor, his story tracks him through the desert, across the Mediterranean, to Italy, then walks into France to climb a 4-story building to rescue a French child.
Yes.
Isn't that an amazing story? Now, if somebody had caught him in Italy and stopped him from coming,
that child would be dead.
Everybody would be taking an internet, in fact, Facebook, there was a Facebook Live scenario going on. Yeah. People were just looking and taking pictures and watching for the child to drop.
Yes.
But one man came and climbed the wall at the peril of his own life to rescue a child that he doesn't know.
Yeah.
And that he wouldn't even, maybe if he saw that child in the supermarket and tried to pick up the child, the parents may call the police. That adoption,
something we're very good at doing these days.
That's right. So, but I'm just saying, he now came to the rescue. Again, if you look through America, there are stories like that.
Yeah.
Immigrants that are moving this country forward from many nations of the earth, in serving in every discipline. America riding on their coattails and their ingenuity, their strength, their wisdom, and their service to greatness. Look at the number of people of African descent that represent the U.S. in the Olympics, and bring her some of those big medals for which the anthem is played.
Yes.
Each time there's a win.
Well, exactly.
We have caused this anthem to be played all over the world so many more times than people who challenge our patriotism.
Yes.
So if I like what the New York team say the coach, the manager.
Yes.
If anybody kneels during the anthem, we'll pay the fine.
Okay.
And so let me see how many of the owners will be willing to stand by their players' right to protest.
To tell you the truth,
Yes.
I think that the better response is for if the whole team to sit in the locker room.
Yes.
Play your national anthem to the empty stadium. When it's done, the players come out and play.
Mm-hmm.
Since they can no longer express their God-given right to protest, why do they need to be? I don't think anybody needs to be fined. In fact, why do we play the national anthem? Why don't we do away with it?
Yes.
Come out and play. It is a game.
Yes.
It is a game. You pay a ticket, you sit down. You're not sitting there to watch the national anthem. You're there to watch grown men do what grown men do.
Mm-hmm.
So why that? If you feel that this is so abhorrent to you, go and play your national anthem in your house. Play it wherever you want to play. Take it out of the stadiums. And as we are doing that, all the flyover of the F-15s during the Super Bowl and all of that. Why? These are things that raise the sense of belonging, the patriotism in the hearts of all Americans. And that kneeling down should have been seen by any right-thinking American as, hey, let us see what it is that has driven these children to behave in this fashion.
Yes.
But nobody, that's wrong for me to say. The voices that actually tried to say that were drowned out by the so-called military traditionalists.
No,
most of whom have never seen battle.
Yeah, but you see, the interesting thing is that time is a healer. Yes. And sometimes decency and calm health prevail.
Yeah.
So lately we've seen Jimmy Johnson.
Okay.
Johnson pardoned posthumously.
Okay.
There were people who protested at the lunch counters in the South during the freedom rights and during the sit-ins with the civil rights, who recently have faculty that were sacked and now been restated. Okay. Some of the students that were rusticated and ejected and removed from the schools, now there's restitution happening all the way. That's fine. But these things ought to be happening when those are alive. And we should take emotions away. Nothing is going to destroy this great country except we ourselves take it down. Because I didn't stand for an anthem does not make America less great.
Yes. Well, you know, so
you're listening to Straight Talk Radio, and it's coming to you from WGHC 98.3 FM. So we're going to take a break, and thanks for listening. From Mazi Obasi.
We shall be back.
And from me, Mazi KK Ogadema. See you later.